You have found us, me, the podcast, and my fab guests who are everyday people. And together, here, we explore that's life. Or is it? Cha-ching! Okay, here we are. And for this show, I am welcoming father and son, actually, Tom and Ben Clowes. And we've been very excited about this conversation today because, Ben, can you, before we go into exploring this challenge of yours, could you just introduce yourself, who you are?
My name's Ben. I love to travel and just see the world.
And how old are you, Ben?
16.
And just to fill out a little bit more detail, where are you studying at the moment and what are you doing?
Kingston College, Travel and Tourism.
There you go. And I'm Ben's dad. My name's Tom Clowes, and just coming along for the journey, really, on the podcast to explore Ben's challenge that he set himself and has been carrying out over the last couple of years.
Yes, and thank you very, very much. So, Ben, can you explain this wonderful challenge of yours? And hopefully our listeners will understand why I've become fascinated with it. So over to you. What is your challenge?
Right, so my challenge is to do every single London bus route that is operated by TfL. And it's not to do the whole route, but at least 2 or more stops. That's the one rule.
The one rule is you have to do at least 2 stops.
Yeah.
And that's every single bus number.
Yep.
Go on, Ben.
Except for night buses and the school bus routes, which is 600s. So they do not count.
Why not?
Because the school buses are used mainly by the school children to get to school, and the night buses, they only operate at certain hours of the night. So it makes it more difficult.
And is it the case that the night buses generally are one of the routes that you've already done anyway? They're like extended versions of existing
Yeah, they're
routes.
basically extended versions. So,
right, I see. Okay, so that's quite an extraordinary challenge. How did you get there? How did it come about?
well, I was just thinking one day of stuff to do, and then I just suddenly thought, you know what? I might as well start this challenge. I was on a bus one day, and I was like, you know what? I might as well start this challenge to do every London bus. And it was also inspired by one of my favourite YouTubers, Geoff Marshall, who's already done this.
Oh, it's already been done.
Yeah.
But the guy who did it, I think, probably did it quite some time ago, right? So there will be some additional services that the famous Geoff probably hasn't done.
And he's in his 50s as well, so I'll be the youngest person ever to do this.
Okay, yeah, I love that. And so who is this gentleman, Geoff?
He's like a transport YouTuber, so he vlogs about trains, buses, stuff like that. Sometimes he goes abroad, like he's done every station in the UK.
So he's a prolific public transport vlogger is the way I would describe him. But he's been around for a long time. And I think, Ben, you must have been watching Geoff Marshall videos.
I've been watching him since I was 3, so he's my childhood.
Oh, I love that. Have you reached out to him? Does he know that you're doing it?
Not yet. I'm going to reach out to him because I recently hit 300, so I'm on 302 now.
Okay, amazing. So let's go back to the challenge. How many bus routes are there?
589.
589.
Yep.
And you've done 302?
Yes. So I'm just over halfway there.
Wow. So how much time has this taken up for you?
How much time? Oh, it's been going for about 2 years. Sometimes I would go up for a day, sometimes just a couple of hours.
Yeah, so I guess from a spectator point of view, Ben quite often will use like a Sunday to go and get to a particular area, chalk off a number of routes in that area and then head back. And I guess, would that take all day, Ben? All sort of...
Not all day, but it could be most of the afternoon, for example.
Yeah. So
especially in an area there's a lot of buses. So the more buses there are in the area, the longer it will take. So
And which area is most populated with buses?
One of them is the Borough of Westminster that has the most buses out of all of them. Bromley, I spent quite a bit of time in Bromley. I had to come back for a second time. I think I did about 20 buses in one day.
Wow. And what do you do when you're on the bus?
I take a photo. It depends how long the route is. I like to stare out the window at the top deck.
I think if, again, from a spectator perspective, if you're in Bromley trying to tick off 20 buses, when you're on the bus, I imagine a lot of your thinking time is probably spent about where to get the next bus.
Yeah, basically.
And which way you're going to go and where you can connect to another route.
What I do is I pinpoint where I can connect to a different bus to go back on myself and then go back up again. So you spent going up and down, up and down.
So is there much planning that goes in before, or do you just sort of play it by ear?
Sometimes it depends on the area.
So what does it depend on?
If I'm going there for like an afternoon, I will plan like pinpoint where the buses go. For example, when I went to Bromley, that took a bit more planning than just seeing a bus like in central London, for example, and getting on that a couple of stops.
So there's a bit of opportunism, it sounds like, Kerrie, as well. So opportunism, if you see one you haven't been on and you're in an area anyway, then you might as well take the opportunity to do it. But then if you're targeting somewhere, like, didn't you go to Harrow recently as well?
Yeah, Harrow, a lot of planning. I did about 25 in one day. So I basically ticked off all the 8 routes.
Okay, I love it. So how does it make you feel when you can chalk off another route?
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing progress and I'm having fun doing it. So
Tom, do you ever go with him?
I have been on some of the routes, but not many. I guess the ones that we've kind of done together would be things like, we got some cricket tickets to Lord's last summer, and on the way back, that offered the opportunity to tick off a few buses.
The number 2
bus got done that day. So There's definitely chances to do buses when we're just sort of out and about as a family, and that includes Ben's sister and his mum as well have been subjected to the challenge in some places as well. But generally, Ben's done like the vast majority of that. How many is it? 302. 302. So the vast majority of that, I would say 90% of that is Ben going and doing it on his own, just because of the sheer drive and determination to go and work his way through it. There has had to be a little bit of encouragement on tracking this, particularly well, because at the beginning, I think it was quite easy just to jump on a bus locally or not that far away from home, snap a picture of it at the front, and then come home, and that was all fine. But I think you've now got a much more sophisticated spreadsheet so that you can
I've got a physical map as well, where I've been crossing off, and now I'm working out which areas I have left to do. East London is a big one that I need to.
Yeah. So what was that you said? So you've now got like a physical map of all the routes, and you can
cross them off physically, and there you go. It tells me the areas it goes through, so I can plan which area to go to next.
So the level of sophistication around tracking's had to evolve a little bit, Kerrie, so that it's not just sort of counting the numbers of pictures you've got on your phone and looking at the numbers. It starts to become more of a task over time, right?
I like to plan this.
Yeah, I love the idea of tracking it on a spreadsheet and crossing it off on a physical map.
Yeah,
must be extremely satisfying.
It is.
So, Tom, another question for you. Do you ever get concerned about Ben?
Yes, it would be in a short. I think we have to sort of look at this, practically as well, right? So Ben's coming up to 17 years old now, and as you can probably tell, more than capable of taking himself around, making sure he's at the right stops to get in the right places and knowing where he is and how to get back and all that sort of stuff. So none of that's really a worry. I think when he was a little bit younger and, we were a little bit more cautious about, which sort of areas he was going to chalk off buses. But as he's got a bit older and obviously your independence grows and all that sort of stuff, it becomes a bit more, you're trusted a bit more to just do things under your own steam as any young adult would be. But that doesn't take away from the fact that as a parent, you obviously have some natural worries about where your children are and what they're doing. And I think that's particularly, of our generation, Kerrie, I think in the age that we're at with sort of kids having smartphones and whatnot, I think that actually enhances it'll sort of intensify some of the worry more so than our parents' generation might have done, where you're just sort of trusted to come back at tea time and that's the deal. So I think we have to sort of balance all those things up and be practical and pragmatic about it. And at the same time as sort of having a little bit of worry, it's good to have, an interesting challenge to do in life. And as you can tell from what Ben says, he gets a big sense of achievement out of it. And I think, I don't know what we'll do when the last bus is chalked off, but
yeah, well, that was going to be a question.
We'll have to get Geoff Marshall involved and see if there can be some sort of reception. But I don't know. That's a little way off.
Yes, indeed. And the other question I had for you, apart from the concern, is the time that it takes, Ben, to do all these.
It is a good question, and that would that sometimes has clashed with things like, are you making sure you're on top of, at the moment, that is college work, and in the past that would have been, revision for GCSEs or whatever was going on. So there are some competing time or competing things for time. But I think if you just manage that carefully enough, it's obviously doable because he's doing it. But yeah, I mean, it can be quite time consuming. I think again, like you were saying, the sort of planning side of things, and I'll hold my hands up. I have nothing, literally zero, to do with Ben's planning the routes. That's all his own work. But we can tell from how he reports back that he, if he comes back and was out for like 4 hours or so, or maybe a bit longer, let's say going to, I don't know, Bromley or Harrow or wherever, and then comes back and you find out that 20 buses have been ticked off, then that's obviously, there's some project management gone into managing time there. So so that's kind of, obviously done as efficiently as possible, I think.
Because, I mean, there are some buses that are like once an hour, so I plan that I make that, or if it's there in the first couple minutes, I get that first and then do the buses that are more often. That's the way I see it, because if the buses are like once an hour, once every 2 hours, it's best to tick off buses in those time, while basically, instead of just waiting for that bus to do other ones and then come back to do that one.
It's a fantastic exercise in time management, actually, isn't it?
It's better time management skills than I've got, Kerrie. I'll tell you that. But,
and then in the areas that I go to, I have a break. Like I go, like in Bromley, for example. Harrow. I went to like the shopping centre and I had to look around Harrow for a tiny bit. There you go, just to see what's there.
Great. So I have to ask you, Ben, I know you're some way off from completing, but you're over halfway. So which has been, or do you have favourite routes?
I don't have a favourite route, but I have some routes that are a high contender for this. The H2 is definitely one of them. This tiny little bus that goes around Golders Green. That takes about 20 minutes to complete. It goes around. Oh, I'm back here again.
Yeah. And do you like that because it's short and it goes around?
Yeah, and I got to see Hampton Garden Suburbs, which is beautiful, by the way.
Hampstead Garden Suburbs.
Hampstead.
Yeah.
Don't know.
So is the H2, Ben? Is that how many seats is on that? Is it like it's like a minibus basically? Is that what you're saying?
It's got about 15 seats, and I was the only one on it.
Oh, and what's been the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise? That's actually a good question. The biggest surprise, just how many buses are in one area, really, because I didn't realise the sheer, how many buses there are actually. Some of them even go outside of London, which is just that surprised me quite a bit, because you don't expect a TfL bus that's run by the Greater London authorities to go outside, to Surrey or Hertfordshire or Essex. So that was quite a surprise.
This is the bit, Kerrie, where we start to find out that Ben's been to some places that we haven't actually realised yet.
He's been exploring. He's gone off to the deepest, darkest depths of some of our counties. Amazing. So, what's going to replace this challenge? Do you think, Ben, or do you think this will kind of tick a massive box for you for a little while, and you'll go on to something else?
Yeah, I might go on to something else. I'm not too sure. That's a hard question because there's other challenges. I would like to go abroad and do some buses there or somewhere that has a.
Do you know? Are you getting to know any particular bus driver? Well, I suppose you only do it once, don't you? So
I made I was in Hammersmith this one time actually. I made friends with the driver on the H91, who his name's David, and he's seen me like once or twice, and we say hello to each other. And yeah, I've been made friends with like quite a few drivers, like on the 65, for example, which is one of my runs to college. I was because the bus was terminating early, so I just had when I have the chance, I have a chat with the driver, and they like the challenge, and they like to see that people are encouraging themselves to go on the buses because that's the best way to see London, in my opinion.
yeah, do you know? I've often thought maybe if I just sit on a bus, get to I don't know somewhere like Tower Hill, and then come back, I'd see all the sites that you'd normally have to either walk or pay for.
Yeah, like for example, because I go out with my aunt quite a lot. She's been quite a big contender in doing some of the buses with me because we go out quite a lot. Like for example, because we meet up at Waterloo, we got the 243 up all the way to Stamford Hill, which was actually a bit quicker than getting a tube, and we saw like bits of East London that actually looked pretty nice, to be honest.
I guess there's a difference, isn't there, Ben, in being above ground than a lot of people would be using the tube system, wouldn't they, to get from A to B, and would miss all of that stuff that's going on above the ground.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, the tube is good if you need to get somewhere quickly, and if you need to get somewhere by a certain like time, I would say get the tube. But if you have a bit more time on your hands and you're just going somewhere, I would say get the bus because you actually get to see London, and because people don't realise the proximity of each tube stop to each other. They could think it's really close because of the Victoria line, for example, or it's really far away.
Yeah, interesting. So you have an amazing ability to retain knowledge that interests you, Ben, don't you? I think when I first met you, you were coming out with some incredible statistics, albeit they were all about and related to travel, which is your passion.
Yes.
So which is why you're studying it, possibly.
Yep. It's an amazing course.
Is it? What are you going to do with it, do you think?
Work in the travel industry. Or I would like to work in the airport.
Oh, would you?
And like help people or sell them tickets.
What particular sort of roles would you like to do in an airport? Because obviously there's so many different jobs.
Yeah,
if you look at Heathrow or Gatwick, there's hundreds of different jobs that could be done
Either,
there.
you know, the people on the information desk, like if people need help getting somewhere, or the ticket people where when your flight is cancelled and you need a flight, and
work for one of the airlines.
Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time at Heathrow because from college there's the SL7 which takes me straight to Heathrow in like half an hour, and then there's loads of buses in Heathrow. So
of course there is. So this again, Kerrie. This is where you get to find out that your son spends his sort of after college time going to airports and. Seeing what's to say. No, I know he does do that sort of stuff, but
but it's a good filler, and I get to
all you need is a zip card, right, Ben, and you're off. I guess.
I was going to say, actually, that's another question I've just jotted down here. The cost of it. What's it cost you, this challenge?
Nothing. It's free.
It's free because you've got a zip card?
Yeah, because I'm under 18.
Because you're under 18.
And I'm in school, so I get free bus travel.
There are some occasional extra costs, aren't there, in that?
Oh yeah, getting to the area.
Sometimes you might need someone like me to top up your zip card with a bit of credit. So if you need to get a train to Bromley, for example, then you might need a bit of cash for doing that.
Yeah, so getting to the area.
Or sometimes you might occasionally, dare I say, need a replacement zip card if they occasionally go missing or get broken.
Yep.
How many have you lost, Ben?
I think we're on the fourth or fifth one by now. But this is over the period.
Of course, since I was 10, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Gosh, that's absolutely fine.
But those costs really, we're talking about sort of very small costs, right? As in terms of this being a hobby, it's really inexpensive, right? Because the buses are free, and if you do need me to provide a little bit of train fare to get somewhere,
£5.
It's not that much because it's slightly discounted, isn't it? Because you're a student.
Yeah, getting to Bromley is actually surprisingly quicker than I thought it would be.
But you do. But back to one of your earlier questions, actually. So now, like all of the areas, joining areas in London were exhausted a long time ago, and other places like Harrow and Bromley have been done much more recently. But back to your question about like the sort of safety aspect of it now, we're some of the areas that you're going to need to go and do this would have, I'm going to be very frank, have a little bit more of a reputation for being a little bit more edgy, let's say.
I always keep my wits about me, though.
So I think some of those ones might be the ones where we might want to go and do it together.
For example, like Croydon town centre, like West and East Croydon.
Yeah, and not that we want to sort of suggest that any of these places are super awful, but
it might take a little bit of extra careful planning.
Yeah, there might be one or two where I go now.
It's just being aware of where you're going to, I think, isn't it? Really?
So I think that the safety side of things is something that we all talk about and consider, and just when Ben's travelling alone is to just keep his
wits about me.
Yeah, just keep your wits about you, and same as any big city anywhere in the world,
which
right?
I do. I always.
You're almost always fine, but every now and again you just need to keep your eyes and ears open, and those are the rules, really.
Yeah, for example, I navigate around Lisbon on my own, which is a city that I've never been before.
Did do that, yeah.
That doesn't surprise me, Ben, actually. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about this amazing challenge, and the very best of luck to get to 589.
Thank you very much. There's more buses coming, by the way. There's some new super loops that are going to be coming later in the year. So,
what's a super loop?
It's an express bus network that gets you from A to B quicker than other buses.
So they connect more further out areas of London, don't they? For example, you could get from
there's the longest bus route in London, the SL7, which goes all the way from West Croydon to Heathrow Airport.
So there we go. They circuit out of London. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
God, I had absolutely no idea that even existed. I mean,
they're coming to Clapham, and there's one coming to Roehampton as well.
So they keep extending your challenge, Ben. That somehow seems a little unfair.
Yeah, it's going to go up to about 592. So.
Well, that's not too bad then.
Okay, that's not insurmountable. Brilliant. Well, let me know. Well, I'll be keeping tabs on your progress, obviously, wherever I see you in the pub. And so again, thank you both very, very much for being so open and honest, and I wish you all the best, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of That's Life, or Is It? I'm Kerrie Dorman, author of The Life Stories of Jenny Lee, and the first one, published in 2025, is available through local bookshops and Waterstones, or indeed Barnes & Noble. If you have a life story to explore with me, please get in touch via the website jennylee.co.uk. Cha-ching!